Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 99 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on recognizing God's hand in my life. So, yay for day 99! One more day of videos. I can't believe that. Okay, yay. Um, so, uh, I don't know what to say about today. Seriously, I am very grateful to God in my life at this point, and I really am. And I think today I'm just recognizing little things in um, just in how I feel about myself and recognizing that God is there and helping me and running late for work because it was my choice not to get up to my alarm. And then I had this crazy thought in my head that I was like, well, if I'd got up to my alarm, I would have been on time to work. And then it occurred to me, I think God just put that thought in my head when I was pulling into work. And I was only like 2 or 3 minutes late for work. It wasn't like horribly late for work. Um, but as I'm pulling into the parking lot, and I basically pulled into the parking lot on time when I should have been sitting down at my desk, so then I still had to like turn off my car and traverse the parking lot to get to my desk, so that hence the time difference. But anyway, the thought popped into my head that if I'd gotten up when I was supposed to and I had extra time, I would have figured out some other way to waste it and would have been late to work anyway, because that's just who I am. That's just what I do. And because I don't have really good time management skills, and anytime I think I have extra time, I end up being extra late for things because I just don't seem to know what to do with my time. Or I think, yay, I have more time to do things. And I also know that God was nudging me this morning that maybe it was okay to skip reading something or read a little bit less, cut things in half a little bit, because I'm like, I don't have time. I should be checking the time. And usually in the mornings when I'm reading my scriptures and meditationals, I'll check the time and I'll be like, okay, I'll save this until after work, or I'll just read half a chapter instead of a whole chapter because I don't have time to read the whole thing. And today I just sat there and I ignored that thought, and every time it popped in my head, I said, I don't care. I'm going to do it all anyway, even if it makes me late. I'm already going to be late anyway. Anyway, so I made the choice. It was a conscious choice. And God just kind of threw that back in my face. Okay, he didn't throw it back in my face. He was just like putting that thought back in my head, reminding me that I made the conscious choice. And he was trying to help me to be on time, and I made the choice, so I had to deal with the consequences, which is mostly just my overreacting. And I sat down at work, and my supervisor, of course, was sitting next to me today, and so I was like, great, she's gonna, and then she turned to say something to me, and I was like, oh crap. And she's like, just so you know, and I'm like, just so I know, I'm in so much trouble. And I'm like panicking, like my whole body is tensing. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then it had something to do with insurance. It had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I walked in 2 minutes late to work. I was like, okay, I am overreacting. I am making things out to be this huge, ginormous thing that I'm going to be in so much trouble, and it's nothing. And I was like, okay. So I was just like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And I'm okay. I'm okay. And then I went to lunch today. And of course, we have people that come in from all kinds of different places and bring us lunch twice a week. It's fantastic, except for the weeks they don't bring us lunch or they bring me food I can't eat. So today there was food I probably shouldn't eat, but I did because it was yummy. It was Olive Garden. So it's the pasta that I probably shouldn't eat because of the carbs. I don't know that the carbs are necessarily bad. I don't think it's bad, really. I don't know about all the processed stuff in it. And I didn't eat anything with cheese, so I didn't do any like the cheese sauces or anything like that. And of course I ate the chicken and the meatballs because those are absolutely yummy. And I had a little bit of a salad, so that's also yummy. But I had the pasta, and I don't really have a thing against eating pasta. It's just that I've tried to do like oat flour and other things to just sort of do gluten-free. Mostly because when I ate wheat flour most of my life, and I love wheat flour, but I think I ate too much of it, and my body's kind of developed an intolerance because when I eat certain breads or flours, my mouth gets kind of sore. So I think it's my body's just kind of telling me it doesn't like that anymore. And sometimes it kind of upsets my tummy a little bit. Nothing horrible, just like a little tummy ache that lasts like 5 minutes and then it goes away. It's no big deal. So it's very good at ignoring my body. So trying to eat healthier and trying to change my diet, I've done oat flour because it's the cheapest gluten-free version, and because for the most part it sticks together like it's regular flour, so it's not a huge adjustment in my baking, which I like, and it's not a huge problem with my budget either. So it's like, okay, I got it's gluten-free, it's wheat, it's oat flour, and it's cheap. It's like 88 cents a pound. And you get any of the other ones and they're like $2.50 to $5 depending on which ones you get for substitute flours, and it's like, no, I can't afford those other flours. And then you have to do other extra special stuff or buy extra stuff on top of that to get the stuff to stick together, or you have to stick it in the fridge to let it chill after you bake it in order for it to actually stay together, because it doesn't come out of the oven staying together. And oat flour may be a little bit more crumbly, but it stays together for the most part, so I like it so much better than the almond flour or the other flours. So anyway, random tangent, but point of lunch at work. Yes, I ate pasta, which may or may not be the best food for me. I don't know what it does to my cholesterol or my AC1 numbers, but I figure as long as I'm losing weight, I think my AC1 numbers are okay. I mean, they went down by 0.2 and my cholesterol went down amazingly. So I'm not breaking my lifestyle. I'm not ruining things. I'm just having my random cheat days. Free food. That's me. I've always been about free food. Anyway, besides the free food, the people that come in, they bring different stuff and they offer different things to the doctors and the PAs in the office where I work. Just different things that are out there, different products, things like that. So today, one of them was imaging. And of course, it was an imaging facility that only does MRIs. But I have an MRI that's waiting for me to do it. And I hate MRIs. And they have an open MRI machine. And I was like, ooh, I know those don't work quite as well. But I paid $700 to get an MRI of my abdomen back in November. And their MRIs are only $250. And then if you need it with contrast, which is what I had to do back in October or November, cost me $700 to do with contrast. Theirs is only $350. And I'm like, okay, so I have another MRI I need to do, which I don't want to do because I don't like doing them, but it's only $250. And I thought, this is totally a God thing, because he's telling me that this is something I could probably afford and that it would be okay to do and to schedule and to stop putting off something that I need to do. So I might actually get myself to print out my order for my MRI and call this place and schedule and go do it. I'm still on the fence about that, but I'm kind of hoping to get money from one of my car accident settlements before I do it, so I don't have to put it on my credit card, which is what I did with the $700 that I was, which would have been a whole lot nicer if it was $250 instead of $700. So anyway, I was just really grateful that God put that out there. There was a little business card at the end of the lunch. I could just grab the card. I could put it in my phone and take it with me so I can remember where I can go to get an MRI for $250 instead of having to pay $700 to find out what's wrong with me. And there may or may not be anything wrong with me. I don't know. So might be like my spleen, and they're going to tell me, oh, it's just what we thought it was, and we're just going to watch it. So we're going to check it in a year and see if it goes away or if it stays the same or if it gets worse. And as long as it stays the same, we're all happy and hunky-dory. But if it gets worse, then we'll have to fix that. So anyway, that's where that is. But I thought that was just a really nice God thing. And then I'm driving home from work today and I get this brilliant idea in my head. Well, I think it's brilliant, and I'm pretty sure that God gave it to me. And it, of course, I didn't want to lose it, so I keep repeating it over and over and over and over and over again in my head. So I'm very excited about it. And it got me excited about writing, because it is for my writing. It's a blurb, or an idea for a blurb for my book, The Plight of the Wise One. And I was like, yay. And so then I was going to work on it tonight, and then I didn't. I opened it and I started reading some things, and I read some comments from my writing friend that did it. And the last thing that I read, which was really kind of nice, she was like, okay, even though there's some inconsistencies and some added information that's not necessary, or things that are like out of order, because she asked questions and then I answer them later, and she's like, you should reorder this so that we're not wondering what the question is, what the answer is. And some of the questions she's asking me, I'm like, yeah, read Lenoy and the Teachers of Powers, and that answers that question, because I don't want to go through and explain it with this character in this book, especially when I took an entire book to explain it already. And then some of the other questions that she has, and I was like, yeah, those will be in the other books that I haven't written yet, because this is technically not the first book in the series. And I was kind of hoping to write the book without having to answer all of those questions, or without people having to read the previous books in the series. And I think I just need to get rid of that idea, because as much as I think it will be a good standalone book, apparently it does ask a lot of questions, some of which may get answered in this book and some of which will not get answered in this book. And they'll get answered throughout the main character's life, I'm sure, and all the preceding books afterwards. But they're already answered by Lenoy and the Teachers of Powers, and some of them will be answered by the next book, which will be The Fall of Espenglanja. And it may mean that I need to write Sonia and Pigland, which I was debating whether or not to do, but now I'm thinking I probably should write those books, because I have ideas for both of those books. I just don't know where they're going to go yet until I finish writing The Fall of Espenglanja. But it would be a really good way to write a book to set up the kingdom and how the kingdoms are put together, and to explain all of those things, so that by the time you get to the Plight of the Wise One, as far as the series goes, then that book makes so much more sense without having to go back and answer all of the questions. But I still want to finish writing The Plight of the Wise One, because I still think it's a better book. I think it's more of a bestseller than the other ones that I still think of as backstory books, but apparently people like them, so they're still really good books. I don't want to say that they're not good books, because I think they are good books, but I know Lenoy and the Teacher's Powers is going to be the first book that I'm going to publish, because it's the closest one to being finished. It's the first book. It's the one that makes some semblance of sense in creating my world before everything falls apart and all of the other stuff, crazy stuff, has to happen. So it's just my introductory book. And so to me, I'm like, it's an introduction book. It's a good introduction book, but that's all it is. It's an introduction to the series. It's not really important to the main plot, the whole story that kind of runs through, the theme that runs through all of the other books, including The Fall of Espenglanja, because The Fall of Espenglanja ties into The Plight of the Wise One and all of the other books. So they all kind of have a theme and they all kind of tie together. But Lenoy and the Teachers of Powers doesn't really tie into the other ones so much as it's just an introduction book. It ties in a little bit in the fact that Lenoy is in the next book, just not in the first book. So it's just kind of a it's kind of a tie-in book. It's kind of, but I mean, it's a standalone book. It's just an introduction book. It's basically like, this is the plot of this is the point of the story, or no, it's not the point of the story. This is just an introduction to the kingdom. This is what happens in the kingdom. This is the powers in the kingdom. This is, things about the kingdom. These are all the characters that at this point in the story are going to play a role in the series, that are going to be important in later books. So it's kind of an introduction, basically, which I've already said like 1,000 times right now, and which was something my writing friend that was reviewing my book said. She's like, oh, you have a lot of repetition in here. You repeat things. And I was like, yes, I do. And little kids repeat things a lot. So I don't think it's horrible to be that repetitious, but I guess apparently for readers, just like people watching my videos, the repetition is really annoying. And sadly, that's kind of me, and it comes out in my writing. But thankfully, I have people to help me to edit and to point it out so that I can do that. Now, if I could get somebody that would consistently help me to edit my videos to point it out, then I can do that too. I still haven't got to the point where I can watch myself without thinking I just look cheesy and ridiculous in these videos, and I don't want to stop making my videos, so I'm not going to edit them myself. I will find someone else that I trust to do it. Or I will just keep posting them as is until I feel confident and comfortable enough to do it myself. Which I did think about doing 100 days of editing videos, but again, the same thing is I wouldn't be making videos, I would be editing them, and I wouldn't really have stuff to share, or I would be sharing about what I'm learning from myself from editing my own videos and hopefully becoming better at making videos. But also that entails a lot more time, and editing is much more time consuming than actually making a video. And right now I just don't feel like I have a whole lot of extra time and energy I want to put into things. And if I'm going to use time and energy to put into something, I'd rather it be my writing than my videos. Sorry for anybody watching my videos. Not that I don't care about my videos or the people watching them. I do. It's just making those makes nerve-wracking to me. And like I said, watching them and editing them is not something I'm ready to do, not emotionally and mentally ready to do that. I kind of think I was at some point when I started doing it with my friend, and then it just kind of all fell apart. And then I started a job, and my life just got crazy. And so I need things to kind of get to a different place in my life so I can do it again. The timing is just off for me right now. So, anyway, I'm just grateful to God for helping me be aware of all of those things and for the ideas in my head about my book. And I wish that I would follow through and do some more writing with it, but it was fun to kind of just read little bits and pieces about it. And at least I thought about it a lot today, and at least I have an idea for what I think is a really good blurb for the back of the book. But I kind of ended up writing like 2 different versions of it, and I was like, oh, because I'm too much of a perfectionist and because I can rearrange words and things like that, so I'm not really sure which sounds the best to other people. And I was going to post it and ask people, and then I just didn't do that either. But I did make my car payment that I hadn't made. Well, because I paid bills, I think it was Tuesday before work. 2 or 3 days ago before work, because I had extra time. Like I said, I have extra time and I do random things. So I paid bills before I went to work because I had extra time. I know it wasn't yesterday, because yesterday was a 6:40 day, and I was like, not gonna happen. So anyway, I wasn't able to make my car payment because the website was down or something. It wasn't letting me do it. And so today it let me do it. So yay. Bills paid. That's always a good thing. And I had food. So I came home and I made food. Yay. I'm very grateful for that too. I'm grateful that I have food and that I'm doing things with my life, and I'm seeing the progress and I'm seeing the things that I'm doing. And yes, if I'd turned my TV off, I could have probably worked on my book today instead of trying to do both at the same time. And that's not something I can do because I can't watch somebody else's creative ideas flowing into my head and try to create my own at the same time. It just doesn't work. So I can only do one or the other. So it's kind of back and forth between the two, and then just super confusing. So I'm like, can't do it. And I just closed my laptop instead of turning off my TV. So maybe next time I will turn off the TV instead of closing my laptop. But God is helping me be aware of my choices, and that if I had chosen to turn off the TV, I have the ideas and I can work on my book and I can make something of it, and I need to do more of that and less of the other. So, but I think it's a process too. I think God is reminding me and showing me that it's a process, and change doesn't happen overnight. But I am becoming more interested in my writing and less interested in TV. And this is a process, and it's progress, because I actually opened my laptop, because I actually wrote down some ideas. I also came home and just wanted to delve into my book and do absolutely nothing else. And I made myself change clothes and do dishes and make dinner before I let myself do my writing, which might have been another reason why I was kind of like, well, I already put it off, so let's just keep putting it off. And that wasn't my intention. When I did that, I was just trying to take care of my body first, my physical needs, before I just jumped into that, because I was in that mode where I could tell him, like, I'm just going to suck myself into this, and I will do this for hours, and I will be starving and thirsty and insane before I even go to bed. So I did not let myself do that tonight. I'm a little disappointed I didn't let myself do that, but it's probably better I didn't. Although it would have been nice if I'd let myself work on a chapter or two. So anyway, I have ideas, and I'm grateful for the ideas that God is giving me and helping me to kind of prioritize things a little bit, and helping me to see where I have room for improvement, and also helping me be aware of my choices, because I think that's one of the things we learn in Al-Anon is the 3 A's. It's like awareness, acceptance, and then action. So first of all, I have to be aware of what I'm doing and how it's messing up my life before I can even accept the fact that I'm doing things that maybe aren't the best thing, and just be like, okay, so this is what I'm doing, this is the choice that I made, and then I can take some action to maybe change it in the future. So awareness, I'm getting there. So the acceptance part is kind of like, okay, I think acceptance is the one everybody wants to skip over, myself included, because I'm like, okay, I'm aware that I'm doing something I'm not supposed to, I just want to take the action, and I'm not really sure how the acceptance fits in there, but I know it's supposed to go in between the two, because you're supposed to accept the fact that it's messing up your life and be accepting, okay, that this is not a good thing. And maybe that's the part of internalizing what I'm doing and the choices that I'm making and the effect that it's having on my life and the consequences of my actions, basically. And then by internalizing that and by recognizing that and then internalizing it, then I can do something to change it. But I think without internalizing my actions, without internalizing my awareness or my decisions, it makes it that much harder to do positive actions, to change the actions, to have a reason, the motivation. I guess it gives me the motivation to make the appropriate changes. So I think that's why I have to accept what I'm doing and recognize it. So first of all, I have to recognize what I'm doing, and then I have to accept that it's messing up my life, and then that will give me the motivation to take the action to change it. So I'm to the awareness point, and I'm aware that it's messing up my ability to do some things, but I'm not quite to the point where I'm ready to accept that I need to change. And so until I'm willing to accept that I need to change, I'm probably not going to take the appropriate actions. Mentally, I know that I need to take the action. Like, I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's the internalizing process that takes forever for me to internalize things and to make that change and get that motivation to change. And I don't know if that's just me, if that's just a mental thing, or if that's an ADHD thing, or if that's just, a trauma thing, or if lots of other people struggle with that and it's not just me. I don't know. I would love to know. So if you guys want to comment on that, feel free to in the comments. If you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I think that's all I have for today's video. So hope you have a great day full of gratitude and find ways to recognize God's hand in your life too.